Hi guys, I'm Shmi and you join me today at the McLaren Technology Centre to show you a first look at this, the new 720S. The update to the Super Series, revolution rather than evolution, because there is so much that is new to show you about this car. So we're going to take a full look around it, talk about the new features, the engine, have a look around the interior, and kind of give you an ownership perspective on it, taking a first look at it as someone who's owned a few of the predecessors, the 12C, 650S, and the 675 LT in both Coupe and Spider. That was the P11. This has been the codename P14, but it's here now, the McLaren 720S. So let's head in and take a look around. Firstly, just behold the new car. It looks stunning. You can see that it is a completely new design. A lot has changed. The headlights, for example, done away with the intake scoop at the side. And I'll show you more about the aerodynamics shortly because, well, it's really quite dramatic, shall we say. In the rear, you have the mid-mounted 4-litre V8 twin-turbo, so enlarged from the 3.8. Naturally, 720 PS. It has 770 Newton meters, so those numbers are up 70 PS and 92 Newton meters from the 650S. You're going to get 0 to 62 miles an hour, 100 kilometers an hour in 2.9 seconds, and it will go on to a top speed of 212 miles per hour. Those are pretty serious statistics. And even better, actually, from an efficiency point of view, it only emits 249 grams per kilometre of CO2, which is a rather sort of industry-leading figure for this segment too. But let's take a little bit of a look around it, talk about the design. So it is completely new. It's unmistakably McLaren. You have the sort of slight distinct shape of the speed mark tick, the logo, in the headlights, but there's no cover to this. They are adaptive LED matrix lights. You've got the carbon fiber surround, but it also acts as a duct for cooling through and into the car to the sort of low temperature radiators at the front. You can see there's a lot of aerodynamic work that's gone into this, all the way through from the lower side here, the airflow that comes around the car, and then that removal of the side intakes. And the way that's done is air is channeled through this top section and in towards the engine here, and literally you could stick your arm the entire way down in there. There's an additional vent duct down on the lower side of the car as well to pull in the cooling, making it more efficient from a performance cooling point of view than the 650S was. In fact, the whole car is 18 kilograms lighter, so it's 1283 kilos as a dry weight, which is really quite a phenomenally low amount. And a lot of that comes from a new tub as well. So it's based on the Motorshow 2 for the Sports Series. You've got the sort of base part of the tub, but it's also one piece all the way through and over the roof, which gives you these fairly spectacular doors. So the handle is located just on the inside here. Give that a press, and they open up. When the door is open, it's 15 centimeters closer to the car, so it doesn't stick out too far versus the P11 platform, but it has this integral part all the way through into the roof. So what this means is when you're in the car, you've got the glass sort of roof to you, the rear canopy, as you're about to see, you can basically see all the way around it, glass everywhere, and then you have this new driver-focused interior, and I'm going to come back and show you all about this in a moment. For now, let me draw your attention to the display screen, which folds up and down. It has this mode so that when you're driving on track, you have an sort of obstructed and you're not distracted by a large display in front of you. But there's more of this to show you in a moment. For now, Let's head back to the outside. Shut the door down. Soft close as before, and come round to the engine bay, which has the red light. So when you're parked up in the car, the engine, which is located now 120 millimeters lower, pretty hard to see actually, has this kind of dim glow to have a nice look at it. Let's spin the car around so we can see the rear. Around the back then, the first thing to note is the new aerofoil wing. This has a few different features to the P11 wing. Firstly, in normal sort of guise, it is still an air brake, but it's the full width air brake, like the 675 LT. On normal sort of driving, it offers 30% more downforce than the previous wing, than the 12C and 650S wing. But this time, one of the most fundamental differences is it has the ability to sit in a sort of raised position, as well as still acting like an air brake, raising and lowering, with DRS functionality to go flat when you have it in aero mode for maximum acceleration with reduced drag. You can see the slash-cut exhaust tailpipes mounted in a familiar position from the 675 LT, but again, another component being lighter than in the predecessor. If I continue further down the rear though, you will see quite how open the back of this car is. And back there we've got the 7-speed SSG dual clutch gearbox. Fantastic piece of kit, obviously, with launch control and the ability to make the car move and shift very, very quickly. So, I guess that's a lot of it from the outside. You've got cosmetic side of things, carbon fiber packs left, right and center, 3 different packs you can have on this car. There's more to the aero in the sense of these sort of ducts that come through under the wing here, and again, the air flowing out through the back. You've got a lot of glass. So the roof has, well, a carbon fiber section in the center, this optional silver trim spec around the window, but it's basically glass, 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 glass everywhere. So you feel very, very sort of open with great visibility, 360-degree kind of visibility from inside the car. Coming down past this fin at the front, wearing the 720S badge, we've got 3 different wheel options, but I also want to talk about the brakes, because these are actually smaller than on the 650S with the same braking power, but the reason for that is reducing the unsprung mass. You also have these new brake calipers with the sort of raised McLaren logo on them, which is quite a nice touch. I don't think I've seen that before. But looking at the car, it is beautiful on the outside and very, very functional. But let's head now and take a look inside. You'll notice that the dashboard is currently in the track mode, closed, and when you open the door, it opens up into the normal driving mode, and there's a button to change that back. But before I go inside, one thing to talk about, the height of the door when it's open in this mode, 1 meter 95 centimeters, so it can still be opened inside an indoor garage, that kind of thing. But you can have a couple of different spec kind of configurations for the car. There are sort of 3 overall configurations, a spec 1, 2, and 3. This is a spec 3, so we've got a lot of equipment. For example, we have the cameras, the 360 camera system, so you can park with a full visibility of what's around you, and a lot of technology, basically. The full options list is not confirmed at this point, but let's jump in and talk about what we have in this car with the sort of sporty style of the interior, with the leather kind of finish. You can have it with an Alcantara style, if you so wish. Now, because of the new monocell that has the structural sort of rigidity through the roof, it basically means those rear pillars can be very narrow, which means you have a pretty good look around you. You can see basically everything. The dashboard itself has just closed on me. Of course, I didn't start the ignition, but we can do that with this sort of updated control panel, but now find that located here. Start it up once for power, once for ignition. And the display screen comes to life with a nice animation of the McLaren 720S. Now there's a button here to rotate that and put it back into the track mode. Now the beauty of the track mode is you basically have the horizontal rev counter and basic information when you're driving, which means that you've got this sort of undisturbed view out in front of you. You've still got McLaren's sort of traditional amazing view over the scuttle. You can easily position where the wheels are from the highest points, but sort of positioned very much for track. But, of course, this is the road car, and it has a lot of variable capability, and this is where we can talk about the active dynamics panel that's moved from this sort of central console up to being alongside the display screen here. And one notable fact is that it starts in sport mode. So when you get in the car, it's always in sport. You have the ability to turn it left into what's now called comfort mode. Previously it was normal, but comfort mode is even more positioned towards comfort and GT than the 650S was capable of, with track mode the other way, even more towards race car. So basically the breadth of capabilities has increased, and what the car is able to achieve and the way it's able to drive is really quite impressive. Remember, this is a machine that can get to 200 kilometers an hour in 7.8 seconds. We can have a quick look at the driver display while it's activated. So in the middle, you've got the large rev counter with the speedometer sitting in the center of that. It goes up to 8,100 RPM from the new twin-turbo V8. You've got your trip information over to your left and your temperatures and fuel gauge over to the right. You've got a few other sort of new toggles, so we can remove the fuel message by pulling that side. You've got a straight to your lift system button here on the end of the stalk on the lower right, which is just the front axle lift. If I put the display into the track mode, you can see how that works with the central rev counter, the gear selector to the left, and the speedo over at the right. That's a pretty nice little system. So other things we've got around, I can see the steering wheel slightly changed, slightly new design, still maintaining obviously the carbon inlays and a slightly sort of flat bottom to it. We've got the familiar dials around. You've got these two displays underneath the main screen where you have your sort of warning notifications and lights, that side of things. Over here you've got the button for the front bonnet, the luggage storage space, which I'd like to show you as well, and the button, as mentioned, that would do the screen, but it's not on at the second. So wake the car back up. There we go. The screen is controlled via that one. So coming back through here, you've got the aero button up top, which is of course for putting your wing into the raised position, the button to turn on and off, start, stop. You've got new controls for the entertainment system screen here, but can't show you through all of that at the moment. Then coming down, you've got these toggles now for drive, neutral and reverse, hazards and launch that have moved up to here into a slightly sort of more reachable position. So what else can I show you looking around here? Well, let's talk about the luggage storage capacity. You have 210 litres of storage space available behind the driver. You've got this sort of strap here to hold it in, but that's big enough for two kind of soft holdall bags that you could carry on an aircraft. So that's quite convenient, in addition to the 110 litres that you find up in the front. In here you've got Bowers & Wilkins hi-fi system, so you can expect some pretty good audio. But the real thing that you notice is how airy it feels. And even if I pull the door down, which still has soft close, I do love the good old soft close, you can hear it just clicking into place. It feels like you can look around and just sort of see everything around you. It's a kind of wonderful place to be. Obviously, I'd love to be able to drive the car, but we're not quite ready for that stage yet. But in here, it's P1 inspired from the point of view that you've got sort of a minimalistic but stylish design. This car is the luxurious finish with the leather, but it all comes together really quite nicely. Let's jump out. Again, door is very easy to open. Press the button to open the frunk. Close the doors back down here just for a moment. Click in place and come round, open this up. So like Sport Series, there's no catch. You just open it straight up and you've got 150 litres in there for your additional luggage space as well. Drop that back down, give it a click, and that latches into place. So basically there's a lot of new tech here that's been created specifically for this car. The aerodynamics, the removal of the side scoop, changing things, new headlights, the way the aerodynamics work through the headlights. It's all very much positioned at the sort of technology, efficiency, and just being efficient on the road. Another new feature on the car is variable drift control. That's the ability to customize the level of traction control, so you can have a little bit more slip, and that's a bit more about the character of the car and the excitement of driving it. Deliveries are going to start in late May, it's only a couple of months away, and it's going to be a 5% price increase on 650S, which means circa sort of £210,000 as a starting point. But when you get a car that looks this good for that money, not exactly a bad place to be. So it's pretty fantastic, as I'm sure you will agree. Deliveries will start with 400 launch versions of the car in varying spec forms between the options, the 1, 2, and 3 different configurations, and we'll find out more about those, the specifications and the colours in due course. But this car looks very nice in what's called glacial white. It's a slightly sort of silver sparkle to it, combined with the black of the roof, all the carbon fibre option packs, and the silver trim around the windows as well. But it's been very nice to be able to take a look at this car. Look forward to finding out an awful lot more about it and a first drive in due course. I hope you've enjoyed the video, seeing and learning about the new McLaren 720S, the replacement to the 650S, the Super Series platform, a revolutionary car with a lot of new technology and some pretty spectacular looks too. That's it for now though. I'm going to wrap it up. Make sure you're subscribed and I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.